Hello, mic test. No, when you are here, because I always do, but there's like we have people online. There will be this like DE testing, 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 testing. Mic test, mic test. Okay.
Okay. Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to Show and Tell. Can I request all the presenters to join the Zoom link so that we are prepared when your turn comes in? Okay. I think we can take a minute. Can you guys please join the Zoom link first? Do we have Praveen? Praveen? Okay. Praveen, can you join the Zoom? Okay, I think we can get started. We have first speaker, Praveen from Carousell. He'll be presenting about how to automate security issues, like fix security issues in an automated way at scale, um, using something called Dependabot automation. So please welcome Praveen. So yeah, so one guideline, everybody will be getting 4 minutes to present and 1 minute for Q&A. At the third minute, I'll like give a signal that 1 minute is remaining. So please be mindful of the time. Thank you. Yeah, you can join. Okay.
Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Praveen from platform team in Carousell. So what I do is I help the product team improve their velocity to like roll out their features and drive business outcomes. So one of the initiatives we are working with is what I want to share today within the platform team. So a general trend you can see now is there is an increase in security issues coming up in all the software, mainly open source software, which we heavily use. And this is primarily driven by the coding agents. And so they finding more and more security and also supply chain attacks. So malicious actors, they target a particular open source repository and maliciously contribute some code that will steal all your secrets and send it to their server, right? So if you're aware of the recent issue that happened with Light LLM, if you have Light LLM on your system, downloaded specific versions, so it has this malicious code that it will steal all your secrets and send. So overall, so the risk is also increasing in the platforms. And as you know, the new model by Anthropic, so they are saying it's so powerful that it is finding very old vulnerabilities, so they are not releasing it generally. It's not generally available. They will find these vulnerabilities, ask the companies to fix them, and slowly publish the model as well, right? So that is to say that the general trend of security vulnerabilities is increasing. What we want to do as Carousel platform is that because our the breadth of our software is a lot, so means you folks are working on your projects which might be a single repo, but in Carousel we have like 200 services, right? So keeping all these services up to date with latest patch software, we have to do this at scale, right? So for that we are using agents. So broadly, I'll go through like how it looks like. So for any given service that we have, so we first run a agentic loop on top of it. We say that these are the issues that are highlighted as security risk for this repo. These are the issues. So it goes and it goes through all the stuff and creates a PR of a fix that is functioning, right? So it has some, so the agentic loop, basically we run Cloud Code with some local verification. Basically it's able to build after editing some code, right? So with this, it is able to compile a couple of depend about issues and create a fix that is functioning, at least building, right? Then we wait for the CI to finish, right? So we have a lot of checks, unit tests, all that stuff. So we ask, so we make the agent wait for the CI to finish, right? And then there is a loop here. So basically, if you are building agents, the core thing you have to do is provide as much feedback as possible to the agent so that it can auto-correct itself. So this is one feedback loop. So if the CI fails, we feed it back saying that, okay, this is why it failed, you can retry, right? So it gets some nuance context of why it failed and it can retry. So then we deploy it to something we call feature environment. You can see it as staging. And we are also working on an initiative to directly deploy this to prod. So we have automated controls of rollback if, let's say, error rates are increasing if a particular service is deployed. So with that, we are able to, given a service and like a instructions that these are the depend about to fix, it goes to prod automatically, basically. So this is the one flow we are building. Yeah.
Thanks, Praveen.
Anyone has any questions?
Any questions? I mean, you can take 1 minute to show if anything is remaining.
So I'll show like. So the impact of this would be, yeah, I think. So I asked one of the managers how much time it takes for them to clear out this tech debt, right? So they said like half a day to 1 day per sprint, like per engineer puts the effort to close this. It is actually a simple fix to do, but doing it reliably on production is the bottleneck, right? So we will save those man hours. Dashboard, right? Yeah, sure. Once this is out, we will have a dashboard to see the full impact. So just to show, this is how we prototype agents, right? So we use n8n to do the prototype, and we run Cloud Code basically on each repo. Yeah, so this is just like on a, so whenever we develop agents, we prototype it in n8n to just get the workflow plus the agentic loop in place. And then we migrate it to some framework like LangGraph or ADK.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
At what point do you feel you need to migrate from n8n to LangGraph? Is it like when functionality-wise it stops providing enough, or is it?
Like as the flow gets more and more complex, right? So the maintainability of it and the reliability of the flow becomes critical. So we deploy it in a fashion that is more kind of rigid. So prototyping is good for if you want to try something out very quickly without having, let's say, a deployment or something. So when we want to make some flow, when we identify the need and when we want to make it more reliable, right, then we move to LangGraph. But functionality wise is the same actually. It will give the same thing, but it's just more reliable.
Okay. Anyone? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Praveen. I can actually vouch that it does save a lot of man hours. It's one of that annoying work that you have to do every sprint. Okay, thank you. So next up we have Daryl. No? I think you are the icebreaker of this group, you know, like once you come the okay, no worries. Okay, but I'm looking forward to you. Okay, next up we have Jonathan. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Hi. So I've been working on a feature that is pretty interesting. So essentially, let me give you a bit of context for those that weren't here previously. I've been working on something called a prompt tracker, which essentially, for example, when you want to Google something in Google search or something, like maybe what are the best marketplace companies like Carousell, you instead now search it in ChatGPT or Claude or etc. And you want to have an understanding of how much visibility does your brand have in certain prompts. So essentially, I kind of built out a feature recently this week on being able to do that. It's pretty simple, but how it essentially works is that, let me show you actual client that I've been working on with. And essentially what it works is, these are certain, I guess you can say, zoom in a bit. These are certain keywords that you basically search up. So the top one is like the slug, but these are like, for example, in natural conversations when you're interacting with ChatGPT, etc., what you might search up as a user. And you can basically configure whatever you want to search. Thereafter, you would typically configure your brand sets. So brand sets is essentially what your company does, as well as what are some competitors that you potentially are competing against. So for example, it could be like, in this case, it's like other chatbots, or it could be even, let's say, for example, a lot of your competitors are small sellers on like Facebook, Instagram, etc. You can also customize it to an extent of understanding if Facebook sellers has a high demand or a large visibility. The last thing that you do is basically configuring AI surfaces, which essentially all this means is that you can filter by two things. One is filtering by which region you want to target from the LLM itself, and two is the direct LLM that you want to target. So once you run the actual job, zoom out a bit. Once you run the actual job, you'll basically have something like this, which, let me show you an actual example. So what will basically happen is it will give you an understanding of where do you actually rank in average from the prompts that you want to search up. So for example, this is like a AI chatbot company, which funnily enough actually works with Carousell. And it will help you to understand like which prompts are you not ranking in from what you've actually searched up in, and which ones are actually your competitor ranking in. So for example, you will notice that the competitor is ahead in which enterprise conversational AI vendors are ... And the ones that are not visible are basically opportunities where you don't rank in that content side and your competitor does not. So how it works is that there's a source intelligence thing that will tell you which sources are helping you, which sources are helping your competitor, and which sources are actually co-cited. So you can see, for example, here, if I were to look at, let's say, best AI sales agents in Apex, if I were to expand this out and let me refilter this, I'll refilter. And when I refilter it, I'm actually able to understand when the LLM was actually crawled or when the LLM was crawling, these were all of the websites that were referenced to. And it will also help you to understand like from these websites itself. And I'll give you an example of a website that has actually been sorted, searched in a sense. Sorry.
1 minute remaining.
Internet issues. Sorry, hang on. Try again. Let me try again. Yes, a bit of internet issues, but let me see if I can. Yeah, essentially it will help you to quote which sources directly can actually be tracked. So for example, if that URL is actually mentioning your source, it will let you know. Or if it's mentioning a competitor source, it will also let you know. So from that itself, you can actually run, which is the main part of the software, you can actually run an AI content agent that will help you to create articles or adjust technical changes directly to target those keywords. And you'll be able to basically track a campaign over time to understand how to improve from it. Unfortunately, I would love to show you, but the internet's a bit bad, so just keep it as there until the internet's better. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, I have one question. So when you say that you are able to show me how my competitors are ranking, how do you actually get that data? Are the competitors also using your website and you are showing them your competitors, or?
Oh, no, no, no. So how it basically works is, let's say, for example, I'm a furniture company, right? So I want to be like best high quality furniture in Singapore. So what I do is I would create a prompt that I would naturally search up in, for example, ChatGPT or Claude. On our end, we handle the difficult part of, from a technical perspective, running tons of cron jobs to actually query the actual user chat. So essentially what we do is we actually stimulate the actual chats that users are doing, and then we aggregate the data and normalize it so that you have a good understanding of what you actually own. Yeah.
But then how do you like optimize for it? Like what do you tell my website? Because we don't know how the crawlers are actually working on OpenAI or any other LLM site, right? So the optimization techniques that we are saying, how are we even sure that that is actually what OpenAI will do? Like if I do this, then it will be optimized for LLMs.
Right. Yeah. So are you referring to like content changes or technical changes?
Both.
So technical changes, there are certain, there are actually broad categories today in which how LLMs operate. So some of them are pretty obvious, and I'll give you an example. So let's say, for example, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but crawlers actually only are really able to crawl server-side HTML. So for example, if your website is actually rendering in like JavaScript or like TypeScript or whatever you're using, actually the LLM, even if they like your source, sometimes they will just skip it because it's just too much work to try and crawl it, and it can't crawl that information. So that's like machine accessibility, which is one variable. And then you have other variables like content structure, these type of things. And these are all things that basically affect. And the internet is back now, so let me see if I can just show you another one. But for example, this is like an aircon servicing company. And from here, I can actually see like if a user is searching up whether or not like aircon, should you buy like aircon services from this brand called Teco, or if you should buy it from like Facebook, you can actually understand which sources are actually citing Facebook and which sources are citing Teco in that sense. And then all these are just actual sources that have actually been crawled by the LLM, but none of the brands are actually being mentioned. So there's two opportunities. One is to buy actual brand links, which there are services for that. Or two is to actually create content so that you're actually picked up by that certain vertical in that sense, yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Next up, we have Ayush.
Okay, so I'll just be sharing a bit about this open source repository I created this week. So continuing from last week, I mentioned about like how can we use LLMs, agents to simulate how customers would behave. So I came up with this repository where it's essentially a way to use existing customer evidence from your platforms and use that to make better product decisions. So what this means is that, as a B2C company or even B2B company, you have a lot of unstructured data, things like transcripts, call transcripts, customer chatbot conversations, even analytics. There's a lot of tools out there like, PostHog and so that's a lot of unstructured data, right? And now, since it's a lot easier for engineering teams to ship features, marketing teams to update their landing pages and copy, the main bottleneck right now is what should we actually do, right? What should we actually build? How should we cater to our existing users? So what this repo does is that I'll just show you an example. So yeah, let's say we have 12 customer transcripts, a lot of support conversations, we have a lot of analytics. Can we feed that into this system and it will create sort of like personas for each of those users? So for example, you might have one section or segment that is more like people who are more price sensitive. They really care about if you increase the price by $1, they're very sensitive to that. They'll churn from that. Versus someone who is looking for more expensive products and they're not very price sensitive, for example. So it creates sort of like personas and kind of like a panel with all of these different personas, right? And so what you can do is ask them questions like, okay, so based on my current segments of my user base, for this next quarter, should I focus on maybe adding more integrations or making onboarding simplified? So kind of like directionally, questions that will help you kind of better understand what you should be focusing on. And the result would be a report giving you a recommendation on what you should be doing, why that recommendation was given, grounded by your customer transcripts, and kind of giving you confidence levels on the reasoning behind why it's giving you that recommendation. So the last part here is like it keeps track of every single question you ask it and kind of iterates and improves on itself. So let's say you do decide to improve onboarding and actually it does improve onboarding by maybe 5%, right? That's like a learning point, and for the next time you ask further follow-up questions in that kind of topic, it can better kind of get better at like giving you insights and recommendations. So yeah, this is something I was kind of like working on this week.
1 minute remaining.
So yeah, that's it.
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much, Ayush. Okay, next up we have Elson.
Hi. So I think one of the more interesting projects that we worked on was actually one of our clients. So I don't know if I can actually show their website, but basically I'm just going to have to talk through it because I don't know if it's willing to share. But one of the clients that I worked with is basically they are they do family law. So they do what we call like probates or will planning and so forth. So one of the more interesting things that we did for them is actually split into two parts. Number one is that we've automated the whole onboarding or intake of information for their clients. So when someone wants to, for instance, sign up and get a probate or get a will, we help them automate that whole intake flow. So basically anyone who wants to sign up, they just talk to our AI agent or they go through the website, they do the verification with SingPass, and then they handle that. Then I think what comes after is actually the more interesting part because the biggest constraint of operating such a small legal firm is that you are limited to like 50. You're limited to your time as a lawyer, as a single lawyer or sole proprietor. So you're limited to your time in terms of how many documents you can draft. But what we do is that by automating the intake, then using AI in the back end. So this is not actually done by us. This is done by our client itself. They automated the onboarding. They automated the drafting of documents. So they essentially moving, which I thought was quite interesting to share. One of the more moving into a fully kind of like AI managed kind of law firm where they use AI to generate legal documents, and ultimately it's still a human in the loop where they check the final ones. But they managed to connect it on an end-to-end basis from the very beginning with our sales AI agent into their own with the AI automation in the back end. So I guess for us going forward, what the next thing for us to work on is to kind of like, this is something that we are just like prototyping with them to see how do we classify their inquiries and decide like what's the next product that is scalable for them, because they do a lot of probate and estate planning, but perhaps they are thinking of a different category. So we're trying to help them classify their data, their chat data, and see what's interesting. Perhaps another thing that we will also do for them is maybe explore voice AI. But I think voice AI with the type of clients they are, people in their 60s, 70s who speak dialects. I'm still not sure how voice AI works for them. If anyone has experience here, please share with me. But we are going to explore that as well. So yeah, that's it.
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next up we have Eve online. Can you hear us? Hi.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll start. Hi everyone. So a quick recap. My project essentially is doing up a support program for children with parental cancer. And so for the past week and two, firstly, I found a partner to help me execute the project with. So he's like a registered nurse and has a lot of experience working directly with youth and children. We also developed a simple app prototype. I wouldn't show it because the local host is a bit down today. But yeah, it essentially is just a simple model on how we wanted to extend the support to these children, which are at a greater risk of mental health illnesses. And yeah, just in general, they need more support. And I've recently just started collaborating with the National Cancer Center here in Singapore, and as well as a few youth organizations to potentially get this on the ground. So we're starting a bit of interviews, and we are going to be interviewing stakeholders, a few doctors, and as well as a few older youth themselves to see how we could really model this program to be emotionally relevant to children at different stages of their journey, especially with certain children, their parents could have passed on from cancer, certain children, their parents have survived, and some of them are still going through treatment. So we want to ensure that our programs are relevant to them at that stage. And yeah, I think that's about it from us. There's a lot of changes right now and a lot of updates, but we're essentially really trying to ground this. And yeah, I think we can get our program running in around a week or two time. So just when this residency ends, we should get our first batch of children coming in for around a 3-month program. That's our current aim. And yeah, that's it about me. Thank you.
Anyone has any questions? Okay, thank you so much, Eve. Daryl? Okay, please welcome my favorite speaker.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Not exactly sure if my thing will work, but I will try to show you to the best of my ability. So, same thing from last week. I'm just going to show this thing and I added a couple of features. Does anyone want to sell something? Let's try it right now, live. Somebody. Sorry? A sticker. Sticker? Sure. Okay. Sure. Let me sell a sticker. Sorry? Sure. Let's try to sell this. So just save the image. Please work. Okay, then after that, I don't know, stickers, analyze. So the new features are just to optimize what the listing will look like because, as you know, there's only a limited amount of characters that you can see visibly when you're scrolling on your phone or laptop. And I want to use those effectively because you know, if the person doesn't know what I'm selling, whether it's new, used, some certain collection, some year, it's a little difficult. Oh, looks like it's probably not working. Okay, never mind. In the meantime, let me show you something else. Damn. Okay, so this is okay. So this is supposed to be where I manage all my chats on Carousell. So I just import it here. I'm pretty sure I violate your terms of service, by the way. But anyways, I can manage all my chats here, my inbox, my contacts. Then I can just drag my different buyers left and right just to categorize them properly. Templates of some stuff to send to them. But because I couldn't connect my own Carousell because it kind of violates your terms, I made a demo version of it. So like you see, this guy Marcus Chen, hey, I saw you selling this Herman Miller. Then the contacts, because some buyers are actually repeat contacts. They come back to me saying, yeah, I want this, I want that. I like your service previously. Let me buy it from you again. So a contact list, the Kanban board you saw just now, all my deals going on. Different templates to just copy and paste because I don't want to retype the whole thing. And I do have an unpaid intern, so like I want him to do the work and just manage it for me instead.
1 minute.
Yeah. Let's see if the original thing I wanted to show you was working. Oh, it works. Okay, so as you can see, everything is the same: Facebook, eBay, Shopee listing, and the AI inside is trying to look at like everywhere online, just scraping data and seeing what's the optimal price to list it at. Okay, let me see if the drafts. So in the drafts, oh, it's too much zoom in. In the drafts, the preview, this is what it kind of will look like. So that's where it cuts off. You see the word stickers sheet. And yeah, so now I gotta change the words a little bit just to make it appeal better. Then also the buyer protection thing blocks it a little bit, so maybe I need to edit the image. So just yeah, that's just a new feature I added. And once I'm happy with it, I checked everything, approve, and yeah, now I can sell on Carousell, Facebook, Shopee, eBay, whatsoever. And yeah, I can see the fees as well. That's pretty much it. Any questions, guys?
Can you only post your, can you only post the listings across websites, or can you also, you have like a dashboard, track everything, or how does that work?
Sorry, what are you referring to this one?
Yeah. This one.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So you use this just to post all the listings across different websites, or do you
Yeah,
use it for?
that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, and can you like respond to like specific chats from here itself?
No, because I haven't figured that part out yet. That the responding to different chats would be this one, but it doesn't seem to want to work because
Oh,
like
okay.
I've tried it here as sorry, as you can see I've tried to take my own cookies and feed it into my client, but apparently I'm having a hard time with that. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So eventually this will all be together as one.
Ideally it would, because I do sell on Carousell, Telegram, Facebook, all the different marketplaces, and it's really really hard to manage like from all these different apps all at once.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Looks good. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Any other questions? Last call. If not, no, thank you everyone. Yes, yes, you. Like, oh, okay. Let me show you my store. Uh, let me close this. I am one of those ticket scalpers. I sell tickets, and as okay, let's say F1, right? For example, I have a lot of chats, and it's really really annoying, right? Because some people actually want to buy, but they're waiting for the tickets to come out in August, so I can sell them, so they can attend in October. But they're not feeling like safe right now, so they just want to wait. I had to categorize these one by one manually on my own Google sheet. It's so slow, annoying, and difficult. And let's be real, I have a lot of stuff to sell, but I am having a hard time, and this headache makes me not want to sell on Carousell or Facebook or any place for that matter. I could just be lazy, but it's a headache. Sorry? Uh, a Google Sheet. I would prefer not to. There are all my passwords are on there, all my confidential stuff. My bots are on there. I can show you privately, but not like this. Sure, bro. Toilet? I mean, hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. I think you should connect with few of our product managers later. Not here. I'll connect you. Okay. Thank you so much. So we have next one is Yong.
Wait, I have to restart my Zoom. Okay. What? All right, I think you guys can see it. Okay, great. Hey guys, so I'm here to present maybe just two things. One is open source, one is closed source, but I can still show a little bit. Yeah, so this is basically just my experimentation on running longer running agents. So the target that the agent was focused on is in focusing on scraping sites. So sites come in various shapes and sizes. We have SSR, we have plain HTML, we have JavaScript, we have paginated sites, we have many different kinds of things. So I wanted agents that could basically scrape, have a budget to decide whether they should survive or be killed, and then also be able to sort of reason about the behavior of these agents over the multiple sites that we were scraping. So there are a bunch of different things here, but I'll just skip through to the most important part. So for instance, we got the agent to run about like 9.5 hours for our recent run. This is based off of like maybe 10% of our data set, so it's quite small, and we should expect it to increase even further. The scrape time contains the total compute time, so it doesn't actually refer to the wall time. The wall time is much lower because we are running concurrent agents. Just in case anyone gets lost, because I'm seeing some lost faces, this is about just being able to reason about longer running agents. So the topic itself is it's just scraping sites. Yeah, it's just like a simple job for the agents. And then I think one more thing that I also wanted to show is like basically for a given run of an agent, how do we understand its behavior? How do we trace its behavior? Because what happens when you're running longer running agents is that it becomes harder to reason about the context you're being given, and also like what's being put in and what you're extracting. In this case, we're just looking for a site, let's say like Roblox's career page. Roblox's career page is like a JavaScript page with a bunch of different like paginations. So we wanted the agent to be able to see like what's going on and whether we as humans can understand what's going on. So the trace waterfall basically shows the timeline, and this is basically, you can think of it as like almost like telemetry. So like basically just showing you like what's happening, the duration, and basically like which tier the agent falls on, because we have different tiers for the agents to be able to scrape, starting from cheapest then to more expensive routes. And then in this case, we have the actual pagination itself, and then it shows the input and the output tokens. Again, this is just raw data. It's not very interesting. The more interesting part, which helps us to reason about the agents, I think, is essentially, given an accessibility tree, which can be represented either in HTML or JSON, what we wanted to do was like, we wanted the easiest way to be able to scrape as much of our data set as possible without stressing out about hitting every single part of our data set, because some sites are a bit gnarly. So, but at the same time, we also wanted to make sure that the token representation was efficient. So we just did a simple bridge to CDP, and then we cleaned up a little bit, and then we basically made it such that we made it such that basically it's a really simple like mapping that the agent could look at and then decide like, okay, what should I be looking at? And so what matters to human is this part, which is like, okay, we have extracted like this number of jobs. Okay, cool. And then the multiple pages. Okay, that's one. Second thing that I wanted to show is also like open source thing that I built recently. It's a security runtime for AI coding agents. This is all open source. You can check it out. So essentially, what happened was that recently there have been a couple of supply chain attacks, especially for Axios and like LLM, and then like a bunch of billion-dollar companies basically folded because of this. I think there's not a lot of like research, there's not a lot of education on what it takes to actually build a plugin like this, and there's also not a lot of understanding as to like for an engineer to know what they're installing as well, if they will install this. So this repo is actually built not only just as a plugin that you can plug and play, but also as a workshop with different steps that you can actually look into and to figure out like how every step works. But essentially, what I would say is that like when a person installs a given agent, when an agent installs like a given dependency, what happens is that we run a tool hook that intercepts the command. We check it against a reputation database first, and databases can be kind of slow. So the last part we want to do is actually spin up a model sandbox in like 1 second, and then it does some behavioral analysis. If there's any network issues, any like random post-install hooks or scripts that basically run outside the file system, or basically sends it over to a server somewhere else, we actually kill the install completely. So you can think of it as a dry run before you run the actual install. The entire thing is open source. Yeah, so you can check it out with me later if you're curious. Yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
Any questions?
So when you say long-running agents, do you mean like by time, or over time they gather like huge context?
Yeah, really good question. So I think that's something that I struggle with also. So right now, for now, is we're talking about like longer running agents in terms of like compute time. But one thing we want to evolve it to is possibly like longer context. Because I think longer context, what happens is that we need to then decide what the boundaries between each agent would be and how do we summarize better. So that's something I'm trying to look into for my separate project as well.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Right. Thank you so much.
Okay, Brandon. Okay, next up is Brandon.
So, oh wait, I forgot to share my screen one sec. Share screen. Has the timer started already?
I can start now.
I'll talk faster. So, going through a bit of the background, basically, a while back, I noticed our social media was, a lot of the time we spend on social media is just doing like recaps of things that are going to come up, events that are going to come up. And it felt like a bit of waste of time because every week I was spending 30 minutes on that. So this was something I built a while back, which was every week it scrapes our Luma calendar. So this is Luma, apparently you can just get the whole site from their inspect element, and you can do a get request and you just get their whole site and you can read your events from that. So I run a scraper for that. It basically it runs our whole social media for our LinkedIn and Twitter. So every week we get updates, so we get stuff like this. For context, what I found out is it's a lot easier because LinkedIn algorithms, they like photos with text. It was a pain in the ass to figure out like how do I get the photos for each, and rather than generate a new photo for every time, what I did is actually have a Cloudflare instance where I just throw a bunch of like pre-generated template photos like this. Every week you just randomly selects one as like a algorithm satisfier, throws out and then does updates for all the events that we have coming up. So that's saving us 30 minutes. It also keeps everyone updated on like what's going to happen. Also connects to our Discord bot. Oops. Also connects to our Discord bot. So Eileen over here is our weekly updater about tells everyone, keeps everyone up to date with all the events. So this has been running for like a few months so far, not a few months, like 2 months so far. Works pretty well. But over the last few weeks, because we've been super busy, usually individual events I will shout out for specific ones I want to push. But because we've been so busy, we've actually been missing. So our timeline, our content calendar has actually been slipping. And so it's getting a bit of a struggle because nowadays a lot of the events that we're supposed to push, we're not pushing early enough. So then attendance is not as high as we want. So that's why one of the things I've been working on this week when I have the time is actually extending this a bit more and actually going into each individual calendar event, writing out posts for each of them and posting them on our behalf. So even if we forget, we can still, there's still a level backup. It's not done yet. At this point, what I'm trying to figure out, it's a bit trickier because what I'm trying to figure out is how to do cover images. I'm trying to download the cover image for each Luma event and post that as the tag instead of like just some generic template image. So that's why it's taking a bit longer, but as a whole, I'm halfway through that already, expecting to have that up by I'm not gonna make promises because it depends on how much time I actually have to work on this. But other than that, this week, the last few weeks, we've just been focused on delivering for our partners. So not much time to build, just a lot of just selling and making sure things work. That's it. Any questions? Yeah, so I orchestrate everything on NAN because I don't really have to be very complicated about, this is like just running for me myself and it's pretty simple. So nothing that's too serious that I have to worry about anything breaking.
Any questions, anyone?
The last one saves us 30 minutes every week. It's not a lot, but it's still 30 minutes that if we forget, then it's pretty annoying. This itself would save me also maybe another hour, depends on how busy the event, the week is, maybe an hour, hour 30. Also not a huge amount. The problem is the time itself is not a big deal because it doesn't take me that much time. The problem is overloaded on content and sometimes I forget to do it. So this is like a backup. If I don't do it, at least it has gone out.
Okay, any more questions?
Do you have like a human feedback or like before the post happens?
No.
No. Oh,
I
wow.
just let it, I just assume it will go well.
Please don't post Carousell related stuff like that.
I will do HITL for this one because that one, so the generic ones is really okay. Yeah, okay, actually messed up. It thought like open call was some kind of, I don't know what I thought. It didn't know what open call was, so it just anyhow whack when it did like the event description for that. For that one, it's a bit less of a problem because the generic summaries, people don't really read them, to be honest. They're like just there, and it's just an update for like what's going on this week. This one I will do a statement, so I'll probably send it to like my Telegram or my Discord just so I can prove it before it goes out.
Okay. Thank you so much, Brandon. Okay, I think we are done for the day. Thank you so much, everyone. We can conclude the session. Thank you. See you next week. Bye-bye.